What is it?
Listen.
The film is inspired by Moby Dick, but what originally gave you this inspiration? Like, what captured your attention about this story?
Well, I read the script without knowing that it was based on real events. I thought very interesting, beautifully written, but just another spin on Moby Dick, that didn't interest me so much. But when I found out it was, in fact, to use a comic book term, it was the genesis story, the origin story for Moby Dick. Well, I love history. And I went back and reread it, and suddenly I found it completely riveting because it was so surprising when you realize, oh my God, all of these things, they happened. People endured this. It was shocking the way nature could turn on man with that kind of intensity.
Yeah, and the whaling experience, it was really vivid. It's quite like an awful experience. Like it's hard going.
I certainly didn't want to romanticize whaling. So through the eyes of the cabin boy who's excited to be there, in the first part of the movie, it does have that sense of swashbuckling adventure, and slowly but surely, I wanted to expose audiences to the brutality of that industry, and it was the industry. It was the oil industry. It was the energy industry of its time, with all the motivators, greed, careerism, pride, all of those things that then had to be called into question after this, nature in the form of this whale turned on these men.
Yeah. So what do you feel this film teaches us about conservation?
What is man's role here? Are we to coexist? Are we to dominate? Are we to reform? What is it? And so I don't think the film provides any answers, but it does suggest that we mustn't live our lives without asking those questions.
So the full-size replica of the Essex was very impressive. So how did you bring ship life to life, really?
Research, being thoughtful, preparation, research. It winds up offering you a lot of freedom, because by the time we were shooting that, the actors could improvise, and they would use that nautical language, or if they needed to move from one part of the ship to the other spontaneously, they would know what to go do, and they could climb, or they could tie, or they could prepare, because they'd spent weeks learning all about it and really immersing themselves in that preparation.
The tragedy of the Essex is the story of men. And a demon.